Okay, so this should not take us much time. I will just give you what this entails. I'll give you the secrets to answering any question on optimal product mix, aka limiting factor. And when I'm done, there should not be any question in your past question that will be difficult for you to address. All right, so we'll be looking at optimal product mix or limiting factor. Now, this topic is in foundation level, which you offer in management accounting, and is at skills level, which you offer at performance in performance management. So, what are we looking at in today's class? Very simple. Now, either you see it as optimal product mix decision, or you see it as limiting factor problem. Okay, limiting factor problem. Limiting factor problem. Any of it is the same thing. So if a student says limiting factor, if somebody else say optimal product mix is the same thing. Now, what does this mean? Now, what this means is that in reality, for you to make a product, right, you need resources. Okay, you need resources. You can't make a product from thin air. So what happens is that you need to get materials, you need to get labor, you need to get components, you need to get machines, whatever you need, just to ensure that this product comes to life. All right. But in some cases, all these things may not be available. You may have labor, you may have machines, but you may not have sufficient materials to produce what you intend to produce. So at any point in time where a company does not really have the resources that is required to meet the demand of the public, we call it limiting factor. All right. So just like saying economics now, economics studies scarce resources. So in some cases, there are scarcity within the organization. So a company may have scarce resources. They may not have sufficient raw materials to meet up with demand. That is what we mean limited resources. So that's what we call limiting factor. So any resources that is not sufficient for us to meet up with our demand is a limiting factor. So I'll give you a very simple example, right? So if you have somebody in your street that does this frying buns, donuts, egg roll, and school student goes to school, children goes to school every morning, and she keeps selling. Now, she keeps selling, but she may not be able to meet up with all the demands for the children. So there will be a point where the child will say, I need buns, I don't finish. I need donuts, I don't finish. Why? She does not really have flour to proceed with her production. That is limiting factor. Okay, that is what we mean by optimal product mix or limiting factor. Now, let me explain it more better and more professionally. When we say something is a limiting factor, does not mean that you don't really have it, but it means that you have even tried to get it, but you cannot get it. So if you can get it, it's not really limited, isn't it? You can just go there and buy it, then use it to produce. But because you know you needed this thing, but you have tried all the means to get it, you can't get it. Your suppliers have disappointed you. That is when you can say this thing is a limiting factor. Am I making sense now? So if you are making buns or you are making fries and flour, you don't have flour to produce, you have the money to buy the flour, you can just go there and get the flour, even if you don't have. That is not a limiting factor. But when you have the money to buy the flour, but there's no flour in the economy, in fact, government has even placed embargo on importation of flour, okay, or flour, whatever you call it. Now that is when you now say this is actually a limiting factor. There are some industries where to get labor is very, 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 very difficult. It's not like the one that you just see accountant everywhere. There are some industries where you cannot get labor, okay, that easy. So they would have checked, sent out advert, publicity, they can't even get labor. At that point in time, they will make use of the one that they have. So they cannot say, labor is what is a limiting factor. So when you have the money or when you have the resources to get whatever you want and you've not gotten it, that is not limiting factor. Limiting factor simply means when you have the resources to get what you want, you tried, but you cannot get it. You've not been able to get it. That is when you now say it is what a limiting factor. Am I making sense now? So in reality, this is a real life situation where organizations face problems or face challenges getting some kind of resources that will help them to produce. All right, getting some kind of resources that will help them to make their product. That can be a limiting factor. Does that make sense now? So, how do we address this in practice, or how do we address this in a business scenario? Now, when a resource is limited, what happens is that the organization will have to work with whatever they have. So, for example, if I have just 100 units of raw material left in my warehouse to produce, all right, and my suppliers or my customers are demanding for 150 units, I only have 100 units I can use to produce, which will also give me 100 units of finished goods. Don't forget the 100 units is raw material, which if I convert, it will also give me 100 units of what? Of finished goods. Okay, hold on a minute. to also give me 100 units of finished goods. But the demand is 150. I can't meet up with the demand. Now, why can't I meet up with the demand? Because maybe I don't have sufficient labor, okay, to meet up with the demand, or maybe my machine cannot stretch beyond the way that it is or what it is currently running. So that can be a limiting factor for me. So my machine hour can be a limiting factor. My labor hour can be a limiting factor. My materials or resources can also be a limiting factor. Okay, they will not test cash being a limiting factor because invariably cash is used to buy the material. So if you don't have cash, you should not have material at the same time. That makes sense, isn't it? So they will not test cash as being a limiting factor, but they can test materials as being a limiting factor. They can test labor hours as being a limiting factor. They can test machine hour as being a limiting factor. All of them are all tied to cash. Because if you have enough cash, you can get machine that can give you more hours. If you have enough cash, you can fly labor from any part of the world, okay, to make produce for you. If you have enough cash, you can order for any kind of material, except where there are legal restrictions on that material. So do not expect that cash is always a popular limiting factor and that should be tested in the question. ICANN will not test cash as a limiting factor in a question. Please take note of that. So when you have limiting factor in a question or in a real life situation, what happens is that there's nothing you can do because you can't get the material. So therefore, what do? You work with whatever that you have. All right, you work with whatever that you have. Now let's make it more practical. Any question that ICANN is giving to you that is limiting factor, they can never give you a limiting factor problem that relates to only one product. It means that in that question, the company must make more than one product. So in this case, I'm going to cite an example that the company is producing product A, product B, and product C. There's never any question on limiting factor where there will be only one product in that question. It is never possible. In my lifetime, I have never seen it. All right. So it must be more than one product, two products, three products, four products, five products, as the case may be. I'm going to explain why. Now, when I'm making three products, okay, that's the rule number one. There must be more than one product. More than one product. One product. Rule number two, these products must share similar resources. Similar resources. They must share similar resources. And when we talk about resources, resources can include machines, okay? Resources can include labor, resources can include material. So let's assume that three of them, that is three of these products, share the same labor. The laborers that produce product A are also those that produce B and also those that produce C. So rule number one, the question must have more than one product. Rule number two, each of the products must share similar resources. It doesn't matter, but they must share similar resources. Now, since they share similar resources, that resources should be what? Limited in supply. It is that resources that they share that must be limited in supply. Okay, so if they all share labor and labor is limited in supply, let's assume that labor that we have in our factory is only 1,000 hours. If we combine all our laborers now, they can only work for 1,000 hours. If you stretch them, they will hospitalize them. So we only have laborers that will go for 1,000 hours. Now, product A needs 500 hours to meet up with demands. Listen to me now. Product A needs 500 hours if it wants to meet up with the demand of the public. Product B says, see, you have to give me 300 hours to meet up with the demand of the public. If I don't get 300 hours, there's no way I can, get the old product set and, supply to the public. Product C say I need 600 hours to meet up with the demands. Don't worry about what the demand is now, but just know that these are the hours that is required of each product to be produced, okay? Now, if you add up all the hours, what do we have? 6 plus 5 plus 3. That's 1,400, Abi. That's 1,400 hours. Now, this 1,400 hours simply means total labor hours required for production. Flow with me, oh. Total labor hours required for production. But don't forget that we have checked our labor. What we have is 1,000 hours. This 1,000 hours simply means total labor hours available for production. Okay, there's a difference between what is required and what is available. If we want to meet up with the demand, we require 1,400 hours, which is the addition of the 500, 300, and 600 labor hours, 1,400 hours. But what we have, which is labor hour available currently, is 1,000 hours. We have posted adverts, we have tried our best, but this is what we can get for now. If you look at this, it doesn't match. There is no way 1,000 labor hours will be able to suit in for 1,400 what hours. Okay, HRO has tried their best, no way around. All right, so there's no way it can suit in. So what can happen at best is that we only use the 1,000 hours that we have. Nemo dat quod non habet. You cannot give what you don't have. That is the Latin terminology. So we cannot give more than 1,000 hours. We only have 1,000 hours. It's as simple as that. Now, what do we do? The question that comes to the mind of the manager is, okay, how do we apportion these 1,000 hours to each of these products so that they are able to make their quantities or they are able to meet up with the demand? The fact is that we may not be able to satisfy all the products, but let us find a way to ensure that we are able to share these 1,000 hours to each of these products. If we add the 1,400 hours, trust me, we will share it individually to them. There is no limiting factor. But because we only have 1,000 hours, it means that labor is the limiting factor. Labor is limited in supply. We need to find a way to share the available labor hours to each of these products. This is the question. How do we share? How do we share? The rule is you are going to share the available labor hours to each of these products based on contribution. Okay? Based on contribution per limiting factor. I hope you are jotting it down. So you are going to share the available labor hours to each of these products based on contribution per limiting factor. Let me explain. Now, view contribution like profit to make life easy for you. Just understand that contribution means profit. So it means that if product A gives me higher profit when I sell it, I think I should invest more in product A. That is what it means. If product B gives me more profit, I think I should invest more in product B first than I should invest in any other product. That is what it means. So what we are going to do before we share this 1,000 labor hours is to calculate how much profit are we going to earn from A, B, and C. Now, I am using the word profit, but the actual word is not profit. Don't get me wrong. The actual word is contribution per limiting factor. But I just want students to understand it better that this contribution that you are saying is actually profit before fixed cost. So I can still call it profit technically. But when you are before others defending this topic or defending your knowledge, please use the right terminology. This is just for explanation purpose. So I'm going to calculate the contribution from each of these products, or I say I calculate the profit for each of these products. The one that gives me the highest contribution per limiting factor, that is the one that I'm going to give my resources first to, followed by the next, and followed by the other. So let's take an example that out of product A, B, and C, product B, if I sell it, I get more money from product B than product A and product C. I'm going to tell product B, kudos to you. I'm going to give you the whole 300 hours. Okay? It means that product B is settled. Why did I settle product B first? Because product B is more or less like my cash cow. You know, cash cow, CSME student, right? Cash cow. It gives me more money than product A and product C. So I give product B the whole 300 hours. Out of my 1,000 hours, I am left with only 700 hours. Then I'll compare product A and product C and ask myself, which of them gives me the next highest contribution per limiting factor? Oh, it is product C. Okay, product C, go next. How much does product C need? 600 hours. Can I meet up with it? Yes, I have 700 hours remaining. I can give product C the whole 600 hours. So that means that I no longer have 700 hours. I now have 100 hours left. Which means I have no other choice but to give the 100 hours down to product A. Remember, product A needed 500 hours, but I can't meet up. There's nothing you can do, all right? So just give product A the remaining 100 hours. So in total, 600 plus 300 is 900. 900 plus the 100 is the 1,000 hours. So when there's a limiting factor, there's nothing much you can do. Just share what you have available, okay, to each of the products, all right, using their contribution per limiting factor, aka more or less like using their profit earning potentials. Does that make sense now? That is the simplicity, or that is the idea behind the topic limiting factor. How you share scarce resources to competing products using their contribution per limiting factor. Now, before I give you the ultimate rules and the steps you need to follow to solve any kind of limiting factor problem in the whole wide world, let me say something that you need to understand. One is that The limiting factor model, okay, this limiting factor model we are talking about can only solve for one limitation. It means that when you have material that is limited, only material, remember that you have several resources that you need to produce, material, labor, machine, and everything. Now, once it is just one that is limited in supply, your limiting factor model will work perfectly. But when you have labor is limited, and you also have what do you call it? Material is limited at the same time. It means that more than one thing is limited at a point in time. There's no way you can use the model I'm about to explain to solve it. It therefore means that the optimal product mix decision model or the limiting factor model can only work where in the question you can identify that only one factor is limited at a point in time. If you have more than one factor limited at any point in time, maybe you have labor that is limited, and at the same time, the materials for production is also limited. So that is like two limiting factors. You are going to deploy the linear programming model. The linear programming model is the advanced optimal product mix decision model that can be used to solve any kind of limitations. Double, three, four, five, six, seven. Just count it, countless. If let it be 50, we're going to deploy the linear programming model, okay, to solve that. All right. Now I'm going to that's what it is. So I'm going to tell you what are the rules to now, what are the steps you need to follow to solve a limiting factor problem. All right, so I think they have steps here, okay? They have steps. So what I just finished talking is single constraint and multiple constraints. So when you have single constraint, that is single limiting factor, you're going to use the limiting factor model. But when you have multiple constraint, which is multiple limited resources, you're going to use the linear programming technique. That's what it means. All right, so what are the steps? Now, this material has given us 9 steps. Okay, basic steps involved in optimal mix decision under a single constraint. All right. It has given us 9 steps. I don't care what the 9th step is. In fact, I don't care reading it. All right. I don't care reading it. I'm going to give you my own steps. So, step number 1, I will not come back. If you know you are writing, keep writing. Step number 1. Step number 1 to solving a limiting factor problem when there is one single constraint, where there's a single constraint. Step number 1. Step number 1, are we together? Identify the limiting factor. Identify the limiting factor. It even means that when you read the question, the first thing you need to know is that once you understand that this question is a limiting factor problem, go to the question and identify which is actually limited. Is it labor? Is it material? Is it machine? Go and identify the limiting factor. Am I making sense now? Now, the question may expressly give you the limiting factor. No stress. I can just tell you that labor is limited, or material is limited, or machine is limited. No stress. No stress. Then when they want to give you stress, they will not tell you what is limited. You will be the one to find out what is limited. They will only give you all the resources that you need to produce. You'll be the one to test each of those resources to find the one that is limited. It is quite very, very simple. Okay, you just need to understand what needs to be done. So rule number 1, identify the limiting factor, or what is the limiting factor. Okay. Rule number 2, determine the degree of limitation. Determine the degree of limitation. I come back again, determine the degree of limitation. Now, for the fact that you know that labor is the limiting factor in step number 1, you have to also determine in step number 2, by how much is labor limited by. Let me give you an example. Going up to my earlier explanation, we have identified that labor is actually the limiting factor because we have 1,000 labor hours that is available, but we needed 1,400 labor hours for production. Now, labor is already the limiting factor, which is step number 1. Step number 2 that says determine the degree of limitation. We're going to say 1,400 that we need minus 1,000 that we have. The difference is 400. So labor is limited by 400 hours. That is the degree of limitation. So the degree of limitation is the difference between what is available and what is required. So these are the 2 things you need when you are calculating the degree of limitation. Resources available and resources required. You look for the difference, and that will give you what? Your degree of limitation. So the 1,000 that you see here as the 1,000 hours is the labor hour what? Available. 1,400 you see here is the labor hour required. So your required minus your available gives you your degree of limitation. Am I making sense? That's step number 2. Step number 3, since you have identified that there's a degree of limitation of 400 hours, the next thing that comes to your mind is, let me share. So what did I say you do before you share? you have to calculate the contribution per limiting factor before you start sharing. So step number 3, calculate the contribution per limiting factor. Step number 3, calculate the contribution per limiting factor. Step number 3, calculate the contribution per limiting factor. Step number 3, calculate the contribution per limiting factor and rank the contribution per limiting factor. So I'm going to combine both and rank the contribution per limiting factor. Step number 3, calculate the contribution per limiting factor and rank, army rank, naval rank, oh yeah, and rank the contribution per limiting factor. When you are done with that, step number 4, allocate the scarce resources. Allocate the scarce resources. Allocate the scarce resources. So people call the step number 4 optimal mix. Okay. So some of my students call it optimal mix. Step number 4, optimal mix, or allocate the scarce resources. Does this make sense now? So I've given you 4 solid steps. With this 4 solid steps, there is none. I repeat, there is none limiting factor problem you will see that you will not be able to solve, except that limiting factor problem was designed to fail you. But as far as ICANN is concerned, ACC is concerned, this is good to go. So the 9 steps has been broken down into 4. So that 4 collapses or supersedes all these. I'm going to just give you 1 minute. Ask me any question because I'm about to solve a question. Ask me any questions so far before I proceed, please. Please, in case your background is noisy, don't even try it. Just use the chat box, it's better. Any question, please? Any question, please? Any question, please? All right, so that means that you are following. So let's look at illustration number 1, Sango. Do I have that calculation? Sango, correct. All right, now, please, if you're joining my class for the first time, if you are coming from a different field entirely, please think like a manager, okay? This is not a matter of I did not do accounts in school. This is just a matter of being a manager, being a shrewd manager. So just calm down, listen to me as I analyze everything in this question. I will solve 3 solid questions tonight, 2 from me, 1 from ICANN past question. Whoever wants to sleep can go and sleep, but I'm finishing this topic tonight. So please flow with me. Now, when I see this illustration 1, I told you when you see a calculation question, hurry down to the requirement. This is the requirement. This is the requirement. The reason why you hurry down to the requirement is just to show if you are able to solve this question or not. Okay, just to check. Now, from the requirement, let me just zoom this. It said, what product mix will maximize the annual contribution, assuming that labor is restricted to 2,000 labor hours per annum? Whenever you see the requirement of a question that states what product mix, once you just hear product mix, just know it's limiting factor. No two way around it. Just know it is limiting factor. What product mix is limiting factor? Forget about any other thing. Now they say what product mix will maximize the annual contribution, meaning that product mix simply means what is the combination of product I'm going to produce. Okay, that's what I mean by product mix. Now let me give an example. I'll still go back. Just give me a minute, just 1 minute. Let me explain something to you. Now, watch me. You know, for B, we said B was the one giving the highest profit. We gave B the whole 300 hours. Followed by C, we gave C 600 hours. Then followed by A, we gave A 100 hours. Now, B needed 300 hours and we gave B the whole 300 hours. What does that mean? It means that B is able to produce all the goods that it wants to produce because it has all the hours allocated to it. Am I making sense? Followed by C. C needed 600 hours and we gave C the whole 600 hours. C is able to produce all the unit that is required because we gave C exactly what it wanted. Abi? Good. Now for A needed 500 hours, but we're only able to give 100 hours. It means that A is not able to produce all the unit that it requires because we did not satisfy it with all the hours that it needed. For example, if B was to make 100 units, C was to make 100 units, and A was to make let us even say 70 units. What will happen is that B will make the whole 100 units because it has all the labor hours. C will make the whole 100 units because it has all the labor hours given to it. But A will not be able to make the whole 100 unit, the whole 70 units, because it only has 100 hours allocated to it. Maybe it may just make 30, or maybe it may just make 40. You have to calculate it. So what does this mean? When you allocated your resources to it, it means that that allocation will alter the demand, or will alter the quantity of product that can be produced. Okay? Because normally demand was 70, 100, 100. But when you have allocated your resources is scarce. And once you allocate your resources, you alter the demand. Therefore, B will still be able to produce 100 because you're able to allocate all. C will be able to produce 100 because you're able to allocate all. But you see, A cannot produce this 70 because there was insufficient resources to cushion for the 70 units. Therefore, it will only produce maybe 30 or 40 as the case may be. That is why they call it optimal mix. The mix there is the way you are able to what? The quantity you are able to produce. So we are able to produce 100, 100, 40. That's the mix. The word optimal means that mix that we are able to produce is the mix that will give us the highest profit. If there's any other mix that you can mix in your head, it can never give you the highest profit. So if you say, I have calculated it to an A should produce 40, B should produce 100, C should produce 100, it means that that is the combination of production that will give you the highest profit in the presence of scarce resources. Can somebody tell me that you are following, please? That is the quantity that the company should produce that will give you the optimal what profit in the presence of scarce resources. That's what we are trying to do. Okay, that is what we are trying to do. So the word optimal product mix, you are able to determine what quantity of product should I produce. Not just that, but that quantity is going to give us the highest profit once we check it out. That is the meaning of optimal product mix. So when you see a question that says requirements, determine the optimal or determine the product mix, it is a limiting factor problem. Just follow my first step rule. Okay, just follow my first steps. Anywhere in the world, you can tackle that question. So let's go back to the question. Now, in this question, they've also told us that labor is receded in supply. So how many labor do we have? We have 20,000 labor hours per annum. So it will give it to you per year. If they give you per month, multiply by 12 to get per year. We are solving it on a yearly basis. All right? Makes sense. So labor is receded to 20,000 hours per annum. Now, let's go and read the question. Let's go and read the question. Songo Limited is considering producing 3 products, Abbey, Bell, and Cat. When I started this lecture, I told you there is no limiting factor problem. You will see that does not have more than 1 product. So in this case, we have 3 products. That means that the first judgment is what? Satisfied. So you have 3 products that is to be produced. Now, the information regarding these products are as follows. We have been given information regarding it. What did they give to us? They gave us selling price for, this is for Abe, this is for Bell, and this is for Cat. They put out 2 nairas, 2 nairas. Okay, please pay attention to details. That's the first thing that we used to know an accountant. You pay attention to details. Don't just jump something. Pay attention to details. 2 naira, this 2 naira belongs to Abe, this 2 naira belongs to Bell, this 2 naira belongs to Cat. So what's the selling price for Abe? 60, the one for Bell, 80, the one for Cat, 100. Good. You give us labor. Pay attention. Oh. You give us labor. And look, oh, we have in bracket 2 naira per hour. Okay? 2 naira per hour. Okay? All right, 2 naira per hour. And we have here 30 naira. All right. 2 naira per hour, and we have here 30 naira. Does that make sense now? Now, what does this mean? Why do we have a figure in bracket 2 naira per hour, and we have 30 naira under the naira sign? Now, this is quite very easy. This 2 naira per hour simply means that our laborers that are working for us, okay, we pay them 2 naira for every 1 hour that they work. Then this 30 naira that you see under the main naira here simply means that this is the total amount that we paid laborers. So we pay them 30 naira in total for the maybe for the month or for the period, whatever the case may be. So that means that if we say 30 naira that we paid our laborers, okay, 30 naira that we paid our laborers, divide it by 2 naira that we pay them per hour, okay, that will give us 15 hours that they worked. So the reason why you have 2 naira signs here, this 30 naira is in naira, this 2 naira is in naira, is for you to get the total labor hours available, or the total labor hours that you spend to make the what, to make the product. So if we pay 2 naira for 1 hour, and we pay you 30 naira, you are going home with 30 naira, your wife is going to ask you, why did you come home with 30 naira? I thought every 1 hour that you work, you are being paid 2 naira. You say, I work for 15 hours today. Oh, no be small work. That was why they pay me 30 naira. That's how the case is. So that's this 15 hours that you see here. So let's go for the next one. 20 divided by 2. 20 divided by 2. That'll give us 10 hours. Okay. That's the 10 hours you see here. That's why they call it here labor hours. So input per unit of product. So we spent 15 hours to make one product. We spend 10 hours to make one product. Okay. Okay. So all these things are per unit already. So it's 10 hours to make one product. Then the last one is going to be what? 60. Okay. 60 divided by 2. So that's going to be 30 hours to make one product. So we spend 30 hours to make one product. That's what I mean by input per unit. So what we put in per unit of each product. So we put in 15 hours to make 1 unit of abe. We put in 10 hours to make 1 unit of bell. We put in 30 hours to making 1 unit of what? Cat. That's what it means. The same explanation will go to material. Material 1 naira per kg. Okay, 1 naira per kg. And here you have 15 naira. So if we say 15 naira divided by 1 naira, that means that we bought how many kgs? We bought 15 kg. 15 kg. Okay. For this one is 30, Abi. It's 30. So if we spend 30 naira for material and we bought 1 kg of material for 1 naira, 30 divided by 1, we spent what? 30 kg. I'm just giving the idea behind getting some kind of figures in your statement or in your question. So 20 naira, okay, 20 naira divided by 1 naira per kg. That means we spent what? 20 kg at this point. Does that make sense now? Does that make sense now? Good. So that is what they did for this material. Whatever I am explaining to you, okay, is general knowledge. It's not just peculiar to limiting factor. Whatever I just did is not peculiar to limiting factor. It's just a standard knowledge that someone that is doing PM, costing, or management accounting should just know. It's common sense in this field. All right. So the next thing is contribution per unit. That was what was given to us in the question. If I add these two, 30 plus 15, that gives me 45. Okay, that gives me 45. Remember that for you to get contribution simply means selling price minus variable costs. So this is our selling price. Labor and material are variable costs. So when you add 30 and 15, you get 45. So 60 minus 45 will give us our contribution per unit, which is 15. Does that make sense now? 20 plus 30 is 50. 80 minus 50 is 30. 60 plus 20 is 80. 100 minus 80 is what? 20. That's our contribution per unit. Okay? Then input per unit of products. We're going to spend, I've thought about this before, 15 hours to make 1 unit, 10 hours to make 1 unit, and 30 hours to make 1 unit. Then our maximum demand per annum, 1,000 units. This is the demand that the public are demanding or asking for. So the public is asking for 1,000 of Abbey, 800 of Bell, and 600 of Cat. Listen, in solving any limiting factor problem, they must give you demand. You must need demand. You must need, not they must give you. You must need. They may either give you directly or give you indirectly, but you must need demand. In solving any limiting factor problem, you must need demand. In solving any limiting factor problem, you must need contribution. Whether they give you directly or you solve for it, but you must need contribution. Does that make sense now? Okpari. So let's go. So this is quite the question, okay? This is the question. And then I said, what product mix will maximize the annual contribution, assuming that labor is restricted to what? 20,000 hours per annum. Okay, so let's solve. Let's solve. Solution. Please, is there any question before I start solving? Any question before I start solving?
No question from my side.
Okay. All right. So if there's no question from you, there should be a question from any other person. So I think we can proceed, Abby. All right. Now, we're going to be using the rules. I'll just put it in brackets, using the rules to solve this question. What is rule number 1? Who can remind me?
Identify the limiting factor.
Good. Now go back to the question. What is the limiting factor? Who can tell me?
Labor.
Labor is the limiting factor. So number 1, labor is the limiting factor. Okay, number 2.
Identify the degree of the limiting factor.
The degree of limitation, Abi? Good.
Yes, sir.
What are the two things that we need? What are the two things we need to identify?
We need the required and the available.
And the resources required. The labor available and the labor.
Okay, you need what? Resources, Abi. So in this case, these resources that you're talking about now, we can replace it with what? With labor. You need labor what? Required. And you need what? Labor available. So let's do the labor
available.
Yes, let's do for the required first. So we're still going to come to available. Okay. Yes, let's do for the required first. We'll come to the available. So for the labor required, please flow with me. For the labor required, how many products do you have? I think I've solved this thing here before.
3 products.
Okay. So you have 3 products. So we have the first one is Abbey. The other one is what? Bell. While the other one is what? Is Start. Now, what is the labor that we require for Bell? Go up to the question. Go up to the question. Now, the labor hours that we require for Bell is 15 hours. Please don't go and use this labor 30 naira. What is limited is labor hours. Confirm it. What's limited is, they said, assuming that labor is restricted to 20,000 hours, they don't say 20,000 naira before you find naira to solve. So what they did is 20,000 hours, not naira. So we're making use of the hours to produce 1 unit. Okay, the hours to produce 1 unit is what? Is 15 hours to make 1 unit. Please be careful with that. So our base 15 hours. If you are going to spend 15 hours to make 1 unit, how many units are you producing based on the question? 1,000 units. That is the maximum demand per annum, 1,000 units. So multiply by 1,000 units. Go to Bell. How many hours do you need for Bell? 10 hours, Abi. And how many units are you producing? 800. So multiply it. 10 hours to make 1 unit. Multiply by what? 800 units. What about for cats? How many hours did you spend for cats? 30, Abi. Multiply by 600 to get the total hours you need for cats. So 30 hours times what? 600, Abi. 600. 600 units. Please, if you know your calculator, do justice for me.
First one, 15,000.
18,000.
15. 8,000 second. 8,000 second.
18,000 counts.
18,000 third.
18,000 the third one, Abi. Help me total it. Kia, no time.
41,000.
41,000.
41,000.
So this is our total labor hours required. So for us to make the whole of Abbey, which is 1,000 units, we need the total of 15,000 hours. For us to make Bell, which is what? 800 units, we need a total of 8,000 hours. For us to make Cat, which is 600 units, we need a total of 18,000 hours. The total hours that we need in our company now as we speak is 41,000 hours. Okay? So we have gotten our labor hour required. We will now compare with what? Labor hours what? Hours what? Available.
Available.
So who can tell me how many hours do we have available? Given to us in the question. That one will always be given to you. Always be given to you.
20,000.
Look at it here, 20,000. Now, what is happening here? You need 41.
Over.
But you only have 20.
Over by 21.
Yes. So there's a difference of how many?
21,000.
21,000.
So this is what? Limiting factor. So that's the degree of limitation. limiting factor, degree of limitation. Am I making sense now? Is anybody confused up to this level before I proceed?
No, sir.
The ladies, they are just okay. Let's continue. Step number 3. What's step number 3, please? People that wrote down, what's step number 3?
We calculate the contribution.
Calculate the
Calculate
contribution per
the-
limiting factor.
Okay, thank you. Contribution
Contribution per limiting factor.
Limiting factor.
per limiting.
And you also rank.
Yes,
you
and
also
you
do
rank.
the rank.
Yeah.
Because you said the 2 of them is in the 3rd level.
Yes. Some people you can separate it, but there's no need. Just put them in the 3rd step. So calculate the contribution per limiting factor. Before you can calculate contribution per limiting factor, you must first calculate contribution. That's it.
Yes.
You cannot calculate contribution per limiting factor without knowing what contribution is in itself. So what is contribution? Who can tell me formula for contribution?
Sales minus variable costs.
Sales minus variable cost. Please work with per unit. I beg of you, work with per unit. Don't go and work with total. These are the
Variable
rules.
cost per unit.
Yes. So we have AB. What am I saying now? Okay. We have contribution already now. Let's go and check. In this question, they give us contribution already. Abina?
Yes, contribution 15, 30, and 20.
Let's go up. Please, in some cases, they will not give you, you'll be the one to go and look for your sales and minus your variable cost from it. They will just scatter it for you. But in this case, they give us selling price, labor, and material. So they've done it for us already. So our contribution is already given to us 15, 30, 20. So we'll just repeat it. You get? Let's just put A for Abe, B for Bell, C for Cat. They will put Naira under it. Put Naira under it. So our sales minus variable cost is equals to contribution. But the question has already given us contribution. So it's waste of time doing sales minus variable cost again. You don't have time. You are battling with 3 hours, Abi. So please, who can tell me again? 30, 15, 30, 20.
15, 30, 20.
20. So 15, 30, and 20. Can I proceed now? So we are getting our contribution. Then I say per limiting factor. Please replace this per with divide. So contribution divided by limiting factor. That's what it means. Okay. So what is our limiting factor? Labor, Abi. So labor.
Yes, sir.
Per unit. Because you have contribution per unit. So you also put your labor per unit. What's your labor per unit? 15, 10, 30, Abi. You are going to have 15 hours to make 1 unit, 10 hours to make 1 unit of bell, and 30 hours to make 1 unit of cat. So you divide it by 15 hours. Okay. 30 hours. 10, Abi. 10 hours and another 30 hours. So I just picked per unit. 15, 10, 30 per unit. Please make use of per unit. I said replace this per with divide. So you just divide, you divide none. Oh yeah, divide for me. What do we have, please? 1, Abi. 3, Abi. Do this one for me. This will be called contribution per labor hours, or contribution per limiting factor, because the limiting factor is still labor hours. Please, 20 divided by 30, 0.666.
0.666.
0.6.
0.667.
Okay, let's just say 0.7.
Yeah. Yes.
0.7. We can say that is 1, Abi. 0.7 is like 1, Abi. 0.6 is like 1, Abi.
Yes.
So 0.667. Maybe we can approximate this one to 1, Abi.
Yes.
Yes, we can, of course.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe we can approximate it to 1, Abi.
Yes.
No, we cannot.
Why?
Because how I am going to do
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Your voice is skipping. Seriously.
It is my network. I said if we approximate it to 1, it will affect the ranking.
Okay. So since you did not talk now, women is not talking. Okay. So if you have 0.67, she's absolutely correct. Don't go and approximate to 1 because you're going to be having 1 year and you have another 1 year, so which will be a coalition. Okay. Then in case you want to ask, is there a scenario where both of them can be 1-1? In ICANN questions, both of them I have not seen where both of them are 1-1. So where both of them are 1-1, you will not need to consult qualitative factors to know the one you are going for. But for calculation's sake, both of them cannot be equal numbers. They must be, all of them are all different numbers. In case you have that in your mind to ask me, I've answered your question. So don't go approximate to go and make the number equal to another number. So leave it in decimal like that. Okay? Leave it in decimal. If to say I have 0.6 here or 0.5 here, I will leave this at 0.6. I will not approximate. So approximation should be on a low at this level. So the answer that I'm getting here is what I call contribution per labor hour. Don't forget that our labor hour is the limiting factor. So it can still be contribution per limiting factor. Does that make sense? Can still be what? Contribution per limiting factor. So once you get your contribution per limiting factor, the next thing for you to do is to rank, isn't it? That's why I joined both of them together. So put your ranking. So ranking simply means which one should come first, which one should come second, which should come third. So which one should come first? 130.7. Which one is bigger? This is
B.
bigger. Abi?
Yes.
Second,
A.
and it should be third.
B.
So please don't go and rank your contribution. I need to spell this out very well. What we are using to solve is not contribution. Contribution is not the reason for limiting factor. It is contribution per limiting factor. Some students go to rank contribution. No, you are ranking your contribution per limiting factor, which is this one that you got here, 3 and 0.7. Please take note of that. Okay. All right. So once we are done with that, please, what is number 4? Step 4. Step 4,
Allocate the scarce resources.
which is optimal mix, Abi. Optimal mix. I can't
Calculate the optimal mix.
So let me just use my own solution to solve the optimal mix. So everything that we have solved, okay, everything that we have solved is here. Everything that we have solved is here. Step 1, step 2, step 3. 1, 3, 0.7. See it? Then this is step 4. Allocate resources. So just focus your mind now on this, my step 4 down here. Focus your mind there. Now, to allocate these scarce resources, you just need this simple table. Okay? Just need a simple table. What is the table header? Rank. That's the first thing you see there. Rank. The products. Okay? The demand. Labor hour per unit. Now, it is labor hour per unit because it is labor hour that is the limiting factor. If it is machine hour, you change it to machine hour per unit. Okay? Then this is labor hour required. It is labor hour required because labor hour is the limiting factor. If it's any other thing, please replace that labor hour with that thing. Then we have labor hour available. Then we have balance and we have optimal mix. This is very simple. Should I cram the headings? No. Do you need it to solve this question? No. How best can I solve this question? Use the headings. Let's go on. Rank. So when you are ranking, this is number first, this is number second, this is number third. So just put it there first, second, and third. Which one came first? Number B, Abi? B, product B is first, which is Bell. Which one came second? Abi. Which one came third? Cat. Am I making sense now? What's the demand for B? 800. We've done it before. That's the demand. It's in the question. Whatever we are doing here now is what we have done here in step 2. That's what we are repeating again before we can allocate. Just flow with me. What's the demand for B? 800. What's the demand for A, which is this one? 1,000. Look at it here, 1,000. What's the demand for C, which is this one? 600. Look at it here, 600. What's the labor hour per unit for B? For B is 10 hours. We know it before. Look at it, 10 hours. What's the labor hour per unit for A? For A is 15 hours. This is 15 hours. What's the labor hour per unit for C? It's 30 hours. That's the 30 hours. 800 times 10, 8,000. which is this 8,000 you are seeing here. We are just repeating what we have done in step 2 already. So there's no rocket science here. 1,000 times 15 is 15,000. 600 times 30 is 18,000. So this is the 15,000 and this is the 18,000. Okay. So once you go to get your labor hour required, we are done. We'll now move to labor hour available. Now, when you want to solve for labor hour available, the first thing that you do is to rule this line under here. Rule a line under. Okay, rule a line under. And put 20,000 under. Now, it is not 20,000 in all the questions. No. It is labor hour available. What is our total labor hour available given to us in the question? Is 20,000 labor hour available. In case you are solving another question, it can be 40, it can be 100, it can be anything. But in this question, it is 20,000 hour available. Now, once you put this 20,000 hour available down, now this is the idea of how to allocate. Pay attention. For product B, which came as first, it needs what? 8,000 hours. Flow with me, oh, flow with me. Flow with me, please. For product B, which needs what? Labor hour available. Okay, labor hour required. It needs 8,000 labor hour required. Look at where I am. Labor hour required. Product B needs 8,000 labor hours for it to be able to produce 800 demands. So what will happen is that we have 20,000 at hand now. We can satisfy the whole 8,000. So we'll give product B the whole 8,000. That is why I put 8,000 under labor hour available. That's what we can give to product B. Okay. Then what will be left? This 20,000 that I have minus the 8,000 that is available. If you subtract it, you're going to get 12,000, which is under the balance. I hope you are not confused now. Move to the next one. For the next guy, which is product A needs 15,000, which is under the labor hour required, what they require for production, 15,000. But to God and man, looking at this thing now, we only have 12,000 left because we initially had 20,000. We have given product B 8,000. We now have 12,000 left. But this guy needs 15,000. There's nothing we can do. So the best we can do is to give product A the whole 12,000 that is left for us. So we know we don't have anything again. We can't meet up the 15,000. We can only give him the 12,000 that is left. That is why our balance is what? Dash. For product C, we are so sorry. We apologize. On behalf of the whole family of Pathfinder, we put you dash and dash. We can't produce you at all because there's no more resources to produce you. Okay? Then the final one, which is the optimal mix, which is the main reason you are doing this allocation, is the optimal mix. Now, since you needed 8,000 for the first one, you needed 8,000, and we allocated 8,000 to you. What that means is that you should be able to produce the whole demand, which is 800. That's why we have this 800 here. For the second guy, which is product A, you needed 15,000, but we only gave you 12,000. What that means is that you can't produce the whole 1,000 here. It's not juju, it's not oracle. No juju can happen. Say you needed 15,000, we only gave you 12,000. It means that you will be producing lower than 1,000. So what can you produce? You'll be producing 800. How do we get the 800? Do this 12,000 that is available, divided by this 15,000 that is required, and multiply it by 1,000. There are different ways to get it. Load with this one first. Do the hard way first. 12,000 divided by 15,000 times 1,000. That's what I did. So 12,000 divided by 15,000 times 1,000. That gave me 800. Does that make sense now? Then for the last guy, which is C, there's nothing for C. Dash, dash, dash. Any question? Once you are done, please do not stop here. Okay? Once you are done, do not stop here. Come out again and write optimal mix. It's very important. Okay? Optimal mix. Bring out all the products B, A, and C. Bring it out. B, A, and C. How many are we going to produce for product B? It is now 800 based on our optimal mix, 800, which is this. How many are we going to produce for A? It's another 800, which is this 800. How many are we going to produce for C? Nothing. Okay, so it's going to be dash. Please, I will say it again. Once you compute your table, do not say Dr. President said allocate resources and stop there. Once you allocate your resources, the final answer you get under your optimal mix, extract it and bring it out. I can view this table as a working. This is what the mark. This is where they will now allocate mark also to. So they allocate mark to year and also year. So do not lose mark. Bring it out and expand it. Optimal mix. B 800, A 800, C dash. So students have asked me before, what about if we put it ABC, the way they give it to us in the question, or do it like that, ABC, it is still the same thing, and so that you put your real answers in front of it. If you like, interpolate it, CBA. If you like, do combinatorial analysis there, but put the final answers correctly. Let it be the 800 for B, 800 for A, and nothing for C. Does that make sense? Any question? Please, Sora, there's no time. There's no time. Let's
Sir,
talk.
sir, please, can you explain the how you allocated the resources? I didn't get that part.
Which part?
The step 4. The step 4. The step 4.
From the rank, from the beginning of the table to the end.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I didn't get that.
Just hold on. Just hold on. Any other question? Is there any other question? I mean, everybody here understood, except this lady. Okay, since it's only she that did not understand, I will explain to her later, not in this class. Is anybody still having the same or similar question? Okay, so that means we are good to go. Madam, I don't know where you were. Oh, they said I should come back again.
I'm sorry, sir. My phone, I was connected to a Bluetooth, so the thing just muted and I did not hear you at all again.
So you're supposed to watch the video again for that. I'll just come back for that sake. You're supposed to watch the video. So for you to allocate resources, we are going to use a table. So the table is rank, product, demand, labor hour per unit, labor hour required, labor hour available, balance, and optimal mix. I mentioned that this one that is labor hour per unit, labor hour required, labor hour available. The labor hour you are seeing here is because in this question, it is labor hour that is our factor. In some other cases, it can be anything. So you just replace it, machine hour, material, whatever it may be. So under the rank, we've ranked here already. So just copy and paste. So which one is first? B. First is B. Second is A. Then the third is C. So third is C. Bring in their demands. 800, 1,600. So for B is 800. It's already here. Look at it. B is 800. A is 1,000. C is 600. It's in the question. Let me go and show them. So before they will swear from you, look at it. Demand. A AB 1,000. 800 for B. 600 for cats. It's already there. So I'm just taking advantage of that. Then my labor hour per unit. Okay. B is 10. A is 15. C is 30. It's already in the question. Look at the labor hours per unit. So A is 15. B is 10. Cat is 30. And I've told you, even if it was not given to you in the question, these are the ways you can get it. Okay. So we say 30 divided by 2, which is 15. 20 divided by 2, which is this 10. And then we have 60 divided by 2, which is this 30. In some cases, they may not give it to you. You have to find it yourself. That's what we are doing. That's how you put in your labor hours per unit. When you multiply them, you get your labor hours required. You get it up to this place. Is it clear up to this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when you now get to your labor hour available, once you get your labor hour available, do not write anything. Just come down and roll a line beneath. Then you put your 20,000, which is this your total labor hour available of 20,000 given to you in the question, 20,000. That's what you put here. So you now start allocating. So if product B requires 8,000 labor hours, can I meet up with it? The answer is yes, because you have 20,000 at hand. So give the product B the whole 8,000. That's why we put 8,000 under labor hours available. So your 20,000 that you have available minus the 8,000 that you have allocated to product B, that will leave your balance to be 12,000 labor hours. You move to the next guy, which is number second to allocate. It needs 15,000 labor hours, but what you have now is 12,000 labor hours. Okay, so you cannot meet up with the 15,000 labor hours. What you simply do is to give it the whole 12,000 that you have. Okay, you can't kill yourself. As I'll give you the whole 12,000. Okay, we are short of 3,000, but we don't know what to do. So our balance will be nothing because we don't have any other thing to allocate. Therefore, product C, we said there's nothing to give to product C because material labor hour is exhausted. All right, so we only allocated 8,000 to product B and 12,000 to product A, nothing to product C. So in our optimal mix, how do we get this 800? Since product B, we allocated the whole 8,000 that it requires, it means that product B will be able to produce the whole 8,000 units, 800 units of demand. Why for product A requested for 15,000 hours, but we only gave 12,000 hours. So that's it's commonsensically, what does it mean? It means that this product A cannot make the whole 1,000 units. How much can it make? It can only make 800 units. And how do we get it? It's 12,000 of labor hour available divided by 15,000 of labor hour required. They will multiply it by 1,000. So I did it here, 12,000 divided by 15,000 times 1,000. That gives us the fraction of what product A should be, or the quantity of product A that should be made. Then for your C, it is dash, nothing. Okay, so we have 800, 800, and nothing. So I said, once you have solved this table in your examination, please spell it out. Optimal mix. B 800, A 800, C nothing. Okay, 800, 800, and nothing. That is it. Any question? Any question, please?
No questions, sir. I understood it better. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. I'll solve for Yaba quickly. I'll solve for Yaba, and that will be the last I'll be solving in this material. So Yaba makes two products, the Ya and the Ba. Okay, so there are two products. So I've told you before, there must be more than one product. So they have two products. Unit variable cost as follows. They gave us direct material, which is a variable cost per unit. That's why they call it unit variable cost. They gave us direct labor. And if you look at it, they gave us 3 naira per hour and they gave us 6 naira here. So that means that 6 divided by 3 will give us the number of hours, number of labor hours per unit. They give us variable overhead of 1 naira. So these are just variable costs. This is different from the first one that we solved where they gave us contribution. This is just variable cost. They now went further to say our sales price per unit is 14 naira for Ya and 11 naira for Ba. So the selling price for Ya is 14, for Ba is 11. And I said during July 2008, the available direct labor is limited to 8,000 hours. So it simply means that labor is the limiting factor in this case. So the labor hour that we have available now is 8,000 hours. So it is clear that labor is limited. Then I said sales demand in July is expected to be 3,000 units of Ya and 5,000 units of Ba. I told you, they must always give you demands, whether directly or indirectly you need it. Contribution, whether directly or indirectly you need it. The limiting factor, whether directly or indirectly you need it. So these are the things that you should be looking out for. If the question like, let it be 3 pages, 24 pages, that's what you are looking out for. Then I say required. Determine the profit maximizing production mix. When you see the terminology profit maximizing production mix or sales mix, that is limiting factor. That's what it is. So I usually have this kind of heading too. Profit maximizing production mix, assuming that monthly fixed costs are 20,000 naira and that opening inventories and finished goods and work in progress are 0, which is nil. They say you should get the profit maximizing production mix, assuming that the monthly fixed costs are 20,000 naira and that opening inventory of finished goods and work in progress are nil. So why are they giving us fixed costs in this question? We are going to know. Because normally we don't need fixed costs to solve a limiting factor problem. Okay? We only need fixed costs if we want to solve a profit and loss account. And that's why they included it here, a profit maximizing production mix. So you're not just getting the production mix, but you're going to prepare a profit and loss account for it. So let's just solve your solution. Please, who can remind me step number 1? Step number 1.
Limiting factor.
So what is the limiting factor in this case?
Labor.
Labor hour. Step number 2. What is it?
You determine the degree of
The
limitation.
degree of the
So degree of limitation, DOL. So what do we need?
We need the sources available minus, the sources required minus sources available.
Okay, so what is the sources required? We are making how many products? Ya and Ba, so put Ya here.
Yes.
And Ba here. So That resources is labor hour. So what is the labor hour per unit for year? They did not give us labor hour per unit, but I've told you, if you have 3 naira per hour here and you have 6 naira here, so you just say 6 divided by 3. Abi, this one inside the big naira divided by this one inside the bracket. Then for this one, you're going to be 3, this one inside the outside here, divided by this 3 naira inside this bracket. 3 divided by 3. So here, 6 divided by 3 is how many hours? Then 3 divided by 3 is how many hours? Please, can you still hear me?
It's breaking, sir.
Okay, so 6 divided by 3 is 2 hours. Then 3 divided by 3 is 1 hour. Okay, is this clear?
1 hour.
Is this
Yes.
okay? So for year, we have 2 hours. So I'm going to say 2 hours to make 1 product. How many products are we making all together? Who can tell me? How many products are we making for year? Sales demand in July is expected to be 3,000 units.
3,000 units.
8,000. 3,000.
Thank you. So here is 1 hour, Abi. 1 hour.
Yeah.
Plus, what's the quantity we are making total?
8,000.
5,000.
I don't understand though. 5,000 units of bar.
5,000.
Oh yeah, now help me multiply. This is 6,000, Abi. And this is 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
So total is how many hours? 11,000. Please, are you flowing with me? Should I call attendance? This is total labor hour required. Okay, 11,000 hours. So who can tell me the total labor hours available? Who can tell me based on the question, what's the total labor hour available?
8 hours.
8,000 naira. 8,000.
8,000. This is it. 8,000 here. 8,000 labor hours. Thank you. Now, who can explain what is happening here professionally?
Okay.
What's happening here?
Limitations, sir.
God bless you. Of how much?
Of 3,000.
3,000 labor hours. 3,000 hours. You don't need the 3,000 just to get the answer. We are not using the 3,000 for anything. Just get it. That's all. Okay. So step 3, sir. Who can help me? Sharp now. You guys are legends.
Calculate the contribution and rank.
Contribution per limiting factor, not
And
just
limiting
contribution.
factor. Okay, thank you.
Then you now what? And rank.
And rank.
Okay.
Limiting factor.
So we have 2 products, Abi. We have for year and we have for bar. So what's the first step? When you are calculating your limiting factor, your contribution per limiting factor, what do you need to get first before you calculate your contribution per limiting factor?
You have to get your contribution per
Contribution first.
Contribution first. Thank you. That is contribution per unit first. Get your contribution before you start talking per. Get contribution first before you even enter the per. So how do we get contribution? Sales minus variable cost. In this question, sales was not given to us, Abi. Contribution was not given to us directly. But since we have our selling price, 14 naira and 11 naira are selling price, and we have our variable cost, direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, we can just directly minus. Abi. So we have 14 and 11. So this is 14 and 11. We'll call it selling price. Please, I beg of you, work per unit. Work per unit. So what's our variable costs? I'll put TVC there, total variable cost, because they've added it for us already. 8 and 7. Okay, that's the total of our variable cost. 8 and 7. So can somebody help me to subtract? We get our contribution. Subtract to. Then once you get the
6 and 4.
6 and 4.
6 and 4. Yes, sir.
So that's our contribution per unit. Once you get your contribution per unit, what do you do? Who can tell me?
We
So,
divide with the limit.
Once you get the contribution per unit, what do you do?
We divide with the limiting factor.
Limiting factor, which is the labor hour, I mean. So labor hour per unit. Who can tell me what's our labor hour per unit? Who can tell me what's our labor hour per unit?
It's 2 and 1.
2 and 1. That's it. 2 and 1. That's why I came to step 2. Step 2 has so many information. 2 and 1 is per unit. That's what we did here. 6 divided by 3. 2. 3 divided by 3. 1. Somebody's asking where is the 8,000 labor hours coming from? You have the material already. This is 8,000 hours. This is it here. 8,000 hours. This is it here. Check here. You'll see it. 8,000 hours. Okay, 2 and 1. So let's go. 2 and 1. What did I tell you about this part that they put here?
It's divide.
Divided.
Divide. Thank you. So just put it as divide. Oyana, run it for me. What do we have? 6 divided by 2 is
We
what?
have 3.
4.
3
and 4. So these are contribution per what? Labor hour. What's the next thing after this one? What do you do next?
We rank.
Oshe baddest. Oh yeah, you rank.
The rank.
Let's come. So which one is first?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is second?
Yeah.
4.
Bar is
Oh,
first.
sorry. Bar. Sorry.
This one is what? Second.
Second.
After rank, we move to step 4. What's
4? Allocation.
Resource allocation, Abi.
Allocate resources.
Yeah, the same thing. It's grammar that is the difference. Resource allocation. All right, so since we go to the resource allocation, I don't have time. I think I will just use what I have here already. I think I should have that. Yeah. Yes. So we have done everything that we have here. Labor hour is limited in supply. Step 2, degree of limitation, we have 3,000, exactly what we got. And our ranking, bar is first, is second, 4, 3. You see it, got it. Then this is where we are now, optimal mix. So the same table applies. Rank your product with demand based on labor hour per unit, labor hour required, labor hour available, balance, and optimal mix. It's not hard. So which one is first? Which one came first? Bar. So first is bar. Second is so second is Okay, what is the demand? Everything that you need now is coming from step number 2. What's your demand? Your demand is 5,000 units here and 3,000 units here. So for bar, we have 5,000. For we have 3,000. Please don't forget, this is also in your question. Okay, it's also in your question. 3,000 and 5,000. Demand, it must always be given to you directly or indirectly. So that's what we did there. So what's our labor hour per unit? It's 1 naira and 2 naira. 1 hour and 2 hours. We've done that before. 6 divided by 3, 2 hours. 3 divided by 3, 1 hour. So multiply then. 5,000 times 1 is 5,000. 3,000 times 2 is 6,000. So we have 5,000 and 6,000, which is this one. 5,000 and 6,000. We are good. Now, once you get to your labor hour available, the next thing you need to do is to come down and put like an equal sign down. Okay, like you want to put in a figure in between. So what's your labor hour available? Is 8,000 given to us in the question. Okay, that's what you put there. Then you will now start allocating in this format. For the number first, which is bar needs 5,000. And we have 8,000. Can we meet up? Yes. We'll give bar the whole 5,000. If we give bar the whole 5,000, what is left is 3,000 because 8,000 minus 5,000 is 3,000. We move to needs 6,000, but you and I know that we cannot give 6,000 because what we have left is 3,000. So we are going to give the 3,000 that we have left. So when we give year the 3,000 that we have left, we have nothing left. Does that make sense now? What is our optimal mix? Our optimal mix will now be measured like this. If what is required for bar is 5,000 and what we gave to bar is 5,000, that means that this demand that we have here as 5,000, you should be able to supply it. That's why I'll put this 5,000 here. Then we'll come to ya, okay? If what ya needs is 6,000, but what we are giving to ya is 3,000, it means that this 3,000 quantity here, which is demand, cannot be met. So what can be met is 1,500. How do we get it? Your 3,000 available divided by 6,000 required, multiplied by 3,000 quantity. So 3,000 available divided by 6,000 required, multiplied by 3,000 quantity. That was how we got 1,500. I told you, once you do this, come out and spell it, okay? Don't get tired. Do your optimal mix and say bar 5,000 units, which is this 5,000 that you got here, and say yeah 1,500, which is 1,500 you got here, 1,500 units. Any question before I proceed? Is that clear? Any question? Any question before I proceed? Now, if there's no question, if you check the requirement of this question, they said determine the profit maximizing production mix, assuming that monthly fixed costs are 20,000 naira and that opening inventory and finishing goods and work in progress are what? Are new. Now, we are done with our normal limiting factor, but they want us to calculate or prepare a profit and loss account. That's the reason why they're giving us fixed cost again, okay? And that's the reason for this profit maximizing production mix. So for us to prepare a profit and loss account, which is what I did here, I call it a profit statement for year, for bar, and I put total. The reason why I'm putting in total is because of the fixed cost of 20,000. The fixed cost of 20,000 is not directly allocated to year, neither is it directly allocated to bar. So that's why I put a total for the 20,000. I'll give you the reasons for everything so you understand. So for me to prepare my profit statement, you already know that it's going to be selling price, okay, minus cost price. Let's do it professionally for decision making. Okay, so selling price minus variable costs, which gives us what? Contribution. Then contribution minus fixed costs is equals to what? Profits. So what's our selling price? You have to bring it out. You can work with per unit first. Get your variable cost to get contribution. I don't have time to start doing selling price minus variable cost to give us contribution because I already have my contribution. When we were solving, there was a point we calculated contribution of 6 naira and 4 naira before we moved to contribution per limiting factor of 3 naira and 4 naira. I'm going to pick this my contribution, 6 naira and 4 naira. That's what I'm going to pick. That's what I have here, 6 naira and 4 naira. Okay, I multiply them with my demand. I put my demand up first. It doesn't matter, I can put my demand anywhere, but this is the standard that I used. I put my demand up first, immediately after the year and bar. What's my demand? Please, do not make use of this demand in the question of 5,000 and 3,000 again. That demand, we cannot meet it. Your new demand that you can meet or your new supply, what you can now supply, let's do it that way. What you can now supply is your optimal mix that you have gotten, 5,000 and 1,500. So this 1,500 is for bar, is for year. That's why you see 1,500 here. This 5,000 is for bar. That's why you see it here 5,000. The total that you can supply is 6,500. Okay. So if my contribution per unit is 6 naira, what is going to be my total contribution? 6 times 1,500 is 9,000. 4 naira times 5,000 is 20,000. 9,000 plus 20,000 is 29,000. That's my total contribution. I put it under my total. Then I will not take out my fixed cost. I cannot take out 20,000 naira fixed cost from year or from bar because it was not directly incurred by them. It's a general fixed cost. So I'll take out my 20,000 from the 29,000 to make sure that I get my net profit of 9,000. So 29,000 minus 20,000 fixed cost is what I have as 9,000. I will come back again for clarity's sake. I escaped or I jumped selling price and I jumped variable cost. I moved to contribution because I'm a professional. I don't have time. And I already know that I have my contribution here. So instead of me to start doing sales minus variable cost to give me contribution, why don't I just pick the contribution here directly, 6 and 4? I can mark it for you, 6 and 4 contribution. Then the reason why I am multiplying my contribution with my quantity is because this fixed cost is in total. Okay, so if I say if I had used 6 plus 4, I will get 10. How will I now say 10 minus 20,000? That doesn't make sense. 20,000 is total. This 10 that I got is per unit. So I need to multiply the per unit with my total quantity. And the quantity I'm going to be using is the quantity I got after my allocation, which is technically my supply, what I can supply, right? So 9,000, 6,000 times 1,500 gives me 9,000. 4,000 times 5,000 gives me 20,000. 20,000 plus 9,000 gives me 29,000. So 29,000, which is my total contribution. Take out my fixed cost from it. You're going to get a net profit of 9,000. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Any question, please? Any question, please? Who is PC Picoma? Any question, please? Okay, so let's use Matthew 24 question 7 to deceive I can small. So forget about the length of this question. This is the question coming down. This is the question. Okay, then this is the question. This is the question. Then this is what I'm concerned about. Now they said determine the optimal production plan. Okay, determine the optimal production plan. So when I see the word optimal production plan, I already know this is limiting factor. There's nothing you want to tell me again. I know this is limiting factor. So they say determine the optimal production plan which Jumbo Taylor Nigeria Limited should adopt. This is 12 marks. Even if I'm sleeping, if I'm dull, even if they blow me powder from village, I can never fail this question. That is how it can be. You cannot fail a limiting factor question. And I said, calculate the total profit. You see, the same way we did that profit that time. And I said, calculate the total profit that would be made if the production plan in A. So that answer that you get in A, calculate the profit you're going to make if you use that answer you get in A above. You see it now, everything 15 marks. Sharp, 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 sharp. Jumbo Taylor Nigeria Limited manufactures 3 unique wares for which the maximum revenue for the coming year is estimated as follows. So 3 unique wares that I told you before that in the limiting factor question, there must be more than one product. So this is 3 unique wares. And they are giving us revenue to be derived from the wares. So the first one is trouser, 8,850,250, jacket, 9,880,000, skirt, 12,390,000. Now, revenue here simply means sales. And I understand the fact that why are they giving me sales figure? Definitely, I know that I need contribution in solving my limiting factor problem. And maybe they don't want to give me contribution directly. That is why they are giving me sales. So if they give me sales, that is to say, there should be a place where they will give me variable costs. So I can say sales minus variable cost to get contribution. So I don't blame I can. I'm fine with that. No issues. Then I come down. I said, okay, summarize unit cost data as follows. Summarize unit cost data. This is so they gave me direct material, which is a variable cost. Everybody knows this. Even the 2-year-old in the they just give it, he also knows it. Direct material is a variable cost. Direct labor is a variable cost. Then I say this one variable cost again. Then I give you fixed cost. Then I give you total cost. Now, total cost simply means fixed costs plus variable costs. So some people that will see this total cost, they will think that this is also a new cost. No, if you add everything like this, you get 2,250. If you add everything like this, you get 3,450. If you add everything like this, you get 2,450. Am I making sense now? That's your total cost. I'm fine. Then I went further to say the allocation of fixed costs was derived from last year's production level, and this may be reviewed if current output plans are different. So these are our fixed costs. Now, let me say something, right? Let me say something. Now, this fixed cost is under each of the products. Trouser, 250, jacket, 500, skirt, 400. When we have fixed cost under each of the products, okay? When we have fixed cost under each of the products, it is basically also, it can be seen as a direct fixed cost. Okay? A direct fixed cost or that is a direct fixed cost. So 250 under trouser, 300 under jacket, and 400 under skirt is a direct fixed cost. All right, let's go further. Then I said estimated selling price are, listen, estimated selling prices are, for you to sell trouser is 3,300 per unit, jacket is 3,800, and skirt is 2,950. Then I began to ask myself when I was reading the question, why would I can't give me, listen, why would I can't give me total revenue, which is total sales? Total. At the same time, Adegbile, please don't annotate. At the same time, give me unit sales. Are they trying to be funny? Why would you give me total sales and also unit sales? Then when I went through the question, okay, I went through this question. Let me be fast. I went through this question and I realized that ICANN did not give me demand. Adegbile, you are annotating. I will take you out. I will take you out. Once I take you out, you can't log in. Then I realized that ICANN did not give me demand in this question. And me, myself, as a professional that I am, I know that I need demand in a limiting factor question. Then I said, okay, ICANN cannot be smarter than me, no matter how many of them sat down to set this question. Then I realized that the reason why ICANN gave me total revenue, which is total sales, okay, and also gave me unit sales. So I'm going to say unit sales. Is because total sales divided by unit selling price is equals to what?
The quantity.
God bless you.
100.
So they cannot fool me. Okay, we are not small in this game. The same way they will not fool you in your exam. So that's the reason why they did this thing. So I said, okay, that's fine, that's fine. There's no problem. Then I went further. Then I said, the products are processed on sewing machines housed in a building of 3 blocks. Listen, this is where the question starts from now, the main question now. Then I said, block A contains type 1 machine. Okay? Block A is like a building now, you understand? And I said it contains type 1 machine, which has an estimated maximum machine hour capacity of 39,200 hours available. So if you go to block A, which let us even say the first floor, you're going to see a machine there. That machine is known as type 1 machine. The total hours that machine can use in a year, okay, the total hours that machine has in a year to use is 39,200 hours. Then I said, in the forthcoming year, with fixed overhead cost of 1,960,000 per annum. So that machine, we're also incurring a fixed cost in that particular place, in that block A. And that fixed cost is 1,960,000 for 1 year. Now, let me take a pause and tell you why I told you that this fixed cost is a direct fixed cost. This fixed cost is a direct fixed cost. This one that we incurred now, it is not linked to either trouser, neither is it linked to jacket, neither is it linked to skirt. It becomes a what? A general fixed cost. See, when you start solving PM, if you start working in manufacturing company, if you don't collect award, it's not Pathfinder that train you. Because you'll be able to give meaning to every figure and every sentence that they are given in that question. So this 1,960,000 you are seeing there is a general fixed cost. It is a fixed cost that was incurred on behalf of all the products, not specifically each product. But this one that you see, 250, 500, 400, they are the fixed costs that we have been able to allocate to each of these products. It becomes more or less like a direct fixed cost or an allocated fixed cost. Or a what? A direct fixed cost. Does that make sense now? So let's go on. Then I said that in block B, let us say second floor, it contains type 2 machine. That's the name of the machine, okay, for example. So it contains type 2 machine. Now, in this type 2 machine, the total hours that they have in that machine is 20,000 machine hours, which are estimated in the forthcoming year. That's what the total hours that they have. And I said, with a fixed overhead cost, which is there's another fixed cost that will be incurred on this machine. What, how much? 1,500,000 per annum. 1,500,000 per annum. Then for block C also contains type 2 machine. So we have 2 type 2 machine. Block C also contains type 2 machine, which also has an estimate of 16,000 machine hours available in the forthcoming year. And the fixed cost we are going to incur is 740,000 in the next words per annum. Okay, 740,000 per annum. So we have 2 machines in question. We have type 1 machine and type 2 machine. Those are the 2 machines. And they have given us the total hours that is available. Now, with what they are saying technically, they have not told you you that machine is a limiting factor. But because they are spending more time talking about machines, sir, it means that machine is actually the limiting factor. For them to be giving you the machine hour that is available, it means that machine is actually the limiting factor in this question. Look, they now went further. The required machine hours. They've given you machine hour available. Now they're not giving you the machine hour required. So that should tell you commonsensically that machine is the limiting factor. The required machine hour for 1 unit of output is the hours that you spend to produce 1 unit of output. For genes, on each type of machines are as follows. You see, we have type 1 machine and type 2 machine. So you're going to spend 2 hours on type 1 machine to produce trouser and 3 hours on type 2 machine to still produce the same trouser. So that is to say, trouser is going to pass through type 1 machine and also pass through type 2 machine, but the hours are different. Jacket is going to pass through type 1 and also pass through type 2, but the hours are different. Then skirt is going to pass through type 1 and pass through type 2, but the hours are also different. Then that came out to say required. Determine the optimal production plan for which Jumbo Tailor Nigeria Limited should adopt. Any question regarding to the explanation of this May 2024 question 7? Any challenge?
Yeah. So when you said something about when the fixed cost is under each product is a direct fixed cost. So I would like you to explain more on that.
There's nothing much to explain. Just know that because it means that for you to be able to identify that 250 was spent as a fixed cost on that trouser, 500 on that jacket, and 400 on that skirt, it means that you directly incurred it on trouser. You knew how much you incurred on trouser. You knew how much you incurred on jacket. You knew how much you incurred on skirt. It's not like this one that is general, that you will not be sharing using a formula or using a technique. This
So
one,
are we going to use the two in solving this question? We have a general fixed cost, and we also have okay.
Yes, we use the two.
Oh,
Normally, we don't even need fixed cost in a limiting factor problem. Please note, we don't need fixed cost in a limiting factor problem. The only reason why we have fixed cost, yes, is
yes, the same we should prepare the statement of
exactly.
What do you call it?
Profit
statement.
Yeah, that's the reason why you need fixed cost. That's it. Please.
Thank you.
Okay. Done. Oh yeah, what is step 1? I think I have a solution for it. Okay, what is step 1, please?
Identify the limiting factor, which is machine hours.
So what is the limiting factor?
Machine hours.
Now, the thing is that machine hour is the limiting factor, but we don't know which of the machine is the limiting factor. You agree with me? We don't know if it is machine type 1 or machine type 2, but we know that it is machine hour that is the limiting factor. Okay, so that is why when I was solving this for my student, I said I don't know. Look at it here. I said step 1. When I asked them step 1, they told me identify the limiting factor. I told them I don't know, but I know it's machine. But I don't know if it is machine type 1 or machine type 2. So I told them to hold on. So the only way I can know is if I move to step 2, which says determine the degree of limitation. Makes sense, Abi? So since I want to determine the degree of limitation, I need 2 things, as I've said earlier. I need my what? Available and required what? Machine hour. Before once we have been solving this labor hour. So that's going to be machine hour. So available and required what? Machine hour. It's as simple as that. So what I did is to say, okay, machine type 1 and machine type 2. As usual now, the product, trouser, jacket, and skirt. Don't forget that each of the products will pass through machine type 1 and machine type 2. Jacket will also pass through machine type 1 and machine type 2. Let me show you the question now. We did that. Each of the products will pass through 2 machines, type 1 and type 2. Okay? Jacket type 1 and type 2, skirt type 1 and type 2 at the same time. So that was what I did in the analysis here. It's just common sense. Now watch me. Now, how many hours will I spend on machine type 1 for trouser? Let's go and check. For trouser, I'm going to spend 2 hours. Machine type 1. Abi? So it's going to be 2 hours multiplied by how many quantity of trouser am I making? Don't forget that the quantity of trouser that I'm making, which is demand, is going to be 8,000. Look at the trouser. 8,250, which is my total revenue, Abi. which is my total sales, divided by what is my unit sales? 3,300 trouser. 3,300. So let's divide for me. What do we have? That will give us our quantity. Help me, oh, please. I don't have calculator here. 8,250,000 divided by 3,300. They go ne. Okay, no problem. So 2 hours.
That's 2,500.
What do you get?
2,500.
So this 2,500 is our quantity, okay? For what? For trousers. So multiply your 2 hours times 2,500 units. What do you get?
That's 5,000.
So let's confirm 5,000. I see it now. So we are still on that trouser doing for machine type 2. So for trouser again, we spend 3 hours on machine type 2. So that 3 hours multiplied by your 2,500 units, which is still your quantity for trouser. So that will give us how much, please? 7,500. So we'll move to jacket. Yes, we'll move to jacket. So for jacket, let's go to jacket, guy. So jacket is 4 hours. So for 4 hours times, how do we get the demand for jacket? Let's go up small. So for jacket is 9,000, 9,880,000. So 9,880,000 divided by what's the selling price? 38. Help me out. Yes.
2,600.
2,600 quantity, Abby. So that's what we're going to be using here. So please do 4 hours times 2,600. What do we have? And the other one is 6 hours.
10,400.
10,400.
10,400. Look at it here. So the next one is going to be 6 hours per unit, which is what? 6 hours for 1 unit times the same 600. So what do we have?
15,600.
15,600. Common sense. Very simple. The last one is skirts. So for skirt, we'll say 6 hours as well. So 6 hours for skirt times. How do we get our quantity? Let's go up gently. So we have 12,390. I mean 12,390. So let's do it here. 12,390,000 divided by 2,950. That'll give us how much, please?
4,002.
4,002. Thank you. So multiply it by your 6 hours. And do 2 hours again. Times 4,002. Which is this
25,200.
25,200. This is 25,200. And for the M2, Egoni, 84, I mean?
Yes.
84. So we are done. So if you add all together, if you add up, okay, and add up, that'll give you your total machine hours required. So what about the total machine hour available? They've told us before, I mean, total machine hour available. So let's go back to the question to check if they are available. So remember that this
39,200.
39,200 Oshie is it here for machine type 1 machine. That's 9,200 hours available. So that's what we used. That's 9,200 hours. Then what about for machine type 2? You know, we have one machine type 2 here, another machine type 2 here. So we'll combine both because they are still machine type 2. So we have 20,000 hours here.
Plus 60,000.
60,000. I'll give us how much, please? That's how much? 36, I mean?
Yeah, 36,000.
So that's the 36,000 you saw here. Look at the workings here. So if I need 40,600 hours, if we require 40,600 hours for machine type 1, and we only have 39,200, which means it is not enough. We have a deficit of 1,400, which is in brackets. But look at this other guy. machine type 2, we require 31,500, but what is available is 36,000, which is XX. It means there's a surplus of 4,500. Therefore, thus, machine type 1 is the limiting factor. Any question? Any question? Any question?
Yeah, sorry, sir. Please, I think while you were explaining my system, I was kind of locked out, so I had to log in again. So, I get from this is that total sales over sales per unit gives you the demand, like demand in quantity, which is, yeah, am I correct?
Correct.
Then, okay, then the total now is what you use to compare the machine hours available.
Correct.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. So for machine type 1 and machine type 2, machine type, look at that person. When I log you out now, you will say you are trying to log in, not come back. So machine type 1 is the limiting factor because it is not sufficient. It's having what limitation, 1,400 deficit. So I put surplus and deficit. So I pick the deficit. Okay. Now this is step 2. So move to step 3 now. Step 3 simply means contribution per limiting factor. And we'll rank at the same time. So we have to calculate contribution first before we get our contribution per limiting factor. The formula for contribution is sales minus variable costs. Sales minus variable cost. So we have trouser, we have jacket, and we have skirts. Okay, good. Now let's do this. What's our sales? Please, I told you, and I will beg you again, work with per unit. Work with per unit. So what's our sales per unit? We already know before. You've given it to us. This is a 3,300, 3,800, and 2,950. It's in the question. Let me go and show you. Before you say where did they get it from? 3,300, 3,829.50. So that's it. 3,300, 3,829.50. All right. So we have to take out variable cost minus, we have to take out our variable cost, which is direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead. So check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out. Let's check it out. Let's check this out quickly. This is an icon question for somebody who say, this is, are you sure they can say this kind of question? Yes. Direct material is variable, direct labor is variable, variable cost is variable. These are the variable costs. Direct material is a variable cost. They don't need to put variable there. You already know it's a variable cost. Direct labor is a variable cost. They don't need to add variable to the name. Then variable costs. So these are the three we are picking. Okay. 1,500, 800. Don't multiply with quantity. We are using per unit. So copy and paste. Control C, Control V. 1,500, 800. Let's go and check it out. 1,500, 800. Go back. Control C, Control V, 900, 450, 16. 900, 450, 16. Finally, we have 700, 350, 1,000. 700, 350, 1,000. Okay, so that's our variable cost. So by rule now, selling price minus variable cost will give you contribution. So what you do is to say this one, which is our selling price, minus all this guy that is here, you will get our contribution per unit. So 3 minus 1,000 minus 500 minus 800 will give you 1,000. 3 minus 900 minus 450 minus 16 will give you 850. 2,950 minus 700 minus 350 minus 1,000 will give you 900. Does that make sense now? So once you can get your contribution, you cannot get your contribution per limiting factor. I told you, replace the per with divide. That's what it means. So divided by limiting factor. And in this case, your limiting factor is machine type 1. That's why I said limiting factor / machine type 1. So to be clear, what's your machine type 1 per unit? 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. How do we get it? Look at it. What's your machine type 1 only? The first one is 2 hours. Come to jacket, machine type 1, 4 hours. Come to skirt, machine type 1, 6 hours. So 2 hours per unit, 4 hours per unit, and 6 hours per unit. They were all in the question. Let's go and check it out. Machine type 1, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. No figure is coming from heaven. We are solving all of them here. They were all given to us, and we are computing for them. So let's go. 2 hours, 4 hours, and 6 hours. So just divide. That's why I put this sign here, divide. So once you divide, you get 500, 212.5, and 150. And that's what we call contribution per machine type 1. Don't forget, machine type 1 is the limiting factor, so it can still be contribution per limiting factor. Or we just put it as contribution per machine type 1. Once we get our contribution per the limiting factor, the next thing we need to do is to rank. So what is the highest? 500, 212.5, and 150. 500 is the highest, which is first. 212.5 is second. 150 is third. And that is that. Any question before I proceed to step 4? Any question?
No, sir.
So let's go to step 4 quickly. So step 4 simply means optimal mix or allocation table. Okay, allocate. This is the same thing. You rank the products with demand. So this time it is not labor hour per unit. It will not be machine hour per unit. This one now it will not be total machine hour per required. Then total machine hour available. Then the balance and the optimal mix. So what we're doing here is just copy and paste from step 2. Okay. So what's our ranking here? We have first, second, and third. So that's how we have first, second, third. So what's the first? Number first is trouser. Give it to trouser. Number second is jacket. Give it to jacket. Number third is skirt. Give it to skirt. Here's our demand. Just come to step 2 to get your demand. When we divided, okay, when we divided 8250 divided by 3,300, we got 25. When we divided 9880 divided by 38, we got 26. And then we got 42. Let me confirm where we did it. We did it up here. Sorry, please. Yes, we got 25 here. We got 42 here, and we got 26. So we are correct. All right. So, all right, that's correct. So, what about your machine hour per unit? I'm using machine hour per unit here because machine hour is the limiting factor, and I'm focusing only on machine type 1. Okay. So machine type 1 per unit is 2. Machine type 1 per unit is 4. Machine type 1 per unit is 6. So we have 2, 4, and 6. Makes sense, Abi? Because 2 is for trouser, 4 is for jacket, okay, which is number second, jacket. While the skirt, 6 is for skirt. 6 is for skirt. What about my total machine hour required? Just multiply 5 times 2 is 5,000. The same 5,000 you got here. 4,000 times 10, 2 is 10,4. The same 10,4 you got here. Just focus on the machine type 1. That's your focus. Then your 6,000 times 25, 2 is the same 23.8. The same 20. Are you kidding? Okay, sorry. 25.2. The same 25.2 that you got here. That's your 42 times 6. 25.2 that you got there. So there's nothing difficult here. Now, once you are done, this is where the big boy begins. Once you get to this total machine hour available, just come down and do the sign. Do the sign down. Put inside of it the available, okay, the available machine hour, which is machine type 1 hour. Look at the machine type 1. The available is 39,200, which we use. Total machine hour available, 39,200. Put it inside. Now let us start allocating from it. For number first, it needs 5,000, but you have 39,200. You can give to it 5,000. 39,200 minus 5,000 will give us what? 34,200, which is under our balance. Forget about this one. You don't need it again. Okay? Move to the next guy. The next guy needs 10,400. What you have is 34,200, but the guy needs 10,400. So what we can do is that we have a lot. I mean, we have 34,200 to give him the whole 10,400 that he requires. So 34,200 minus your 10,000 that you have given to jacket, which is this guy, jacket. What is left is 23,800. So you have 23,800 left. The last guy, which is skirt, needs 25,200. Sir, ma, you cannot meet up with 25,200 because what you have is 23,800. But there's nothing you can do now. Just give him the whole 23,800. Give it to skirt. Once you give it to skirt, you have a zero balance. Does that make sense now? You have a zero balance. So since we have a zero balance, what is going to happen is we'll go to our optimal mix. For our optimal mix, how do we allocate? Don't forget that for trouser needed 5,000, and we gave trouser the whole 5,000. So what it means is that trouser can produce the whole 25, which is this 25 you are seeing here. The next one is jacket. Jacket needed 10,400, and we gave jacket the whole 10,400. So what that means is that jacket can produce the whole 2,600. That's why you see 2,600 here. Then finally is for skirt. Skirt needed 25,200, but we only gave SCET 23,800. That means that SCET cannot meet up with the whole 42. So how much can it meet up with, or how many can it meet up with? It can only meet up with, pick your 23,800, which is this guy, divided by 25,200, which is this guy, and multiply by your quantity of 42, which is this guy. And what you get is 3,967. Okay, so I told you once you get these answers, spell it out. Okay, 25 for trouser, 26 for skirt, and 3,967 for 26 for jacket, and 3,967 for skirt. So this is your new quantity that you can produce and supply. Okay, now they told us to prepare profit and loss account, but before we go to profit and loss account, you see this thing that I'm doing here. There's another method. So that will be your assignment. I don't know if anybody knows how to get this 3926 without doing this formula. If you know how to get it, good for you. If you don't know how to get it, use your calculator and play around this place. You just need two things to divide. Just say 1 divided by the other one. Once you play around this line here, you'll be able to get this 3967. You don't need to start doing 2,300 divided by 25,200 times 4. No, you don't need to do that. Once you play around here with your calculator, you'll get this answer. Once you play around here with your calculator direct, you get this 26. Once you play around here with your calculator, you get 25. Just find a way around it. You're in skills level. All right? It's simple. Then the next one is we should calculate
3,800 divided by 6.
Okay, you're giving them the answer. They will buy you more. Just copy their names down. They should buy you more. All right, so let's do for our total profits. Okay, based on the production plan in A. So for us to do our total profit here, we already know that what we need to do is to say selling price minus variable cost to get contribution, contribution minus fixed cost to get profits. Okay, so I don't need to do selling price again. I don't need to do variable cost again. I can just jump to contribution because I have solved for contribution year before. 1,000, 850, and 900. That's what I copied here. Contribution per unit, 1,000, 850, and 900. So no need for me to start doing selling price minus variable cost to give me contribution again. Then I'm supposed to move to fixed cost. But in this question, I have two fixed costs. I have direct fixed costs and I have general what? Fixed costs. Okay, so I need to treat my direct fixed cost first before I move to my general fixed cost. Well, what's my direct fixed cost? 250, 500, 400. Let me show you in the question. I've said that before. So 250, 500, 400. That's my direct fixed cost per unit. So I will minus it. Okay, 1,000 minus 250 is 750. 850 minus 500 is 350. 900 minus 400 is 500. Then I had to multiply it with my quantity. Why am I multiplying with my quantity before I move to general fixed cost? Because this general fixed cost, it was not given to me per unit. It was given to me in total. Okay, look at my heavy figures, 1.9 million. So the only way I can undo these figures is to also make all these ones too to become big by multiplying them with quantity, because all these ones are already multiplied with quantity to get total. So I also need to multiply my profit, which is my contribution minus my direct fixed cost, to get my what? My total profit. Okay, so I needed to say 25, 26, 396, 3967. Where did I get these figures from, these quantity figures from? Please, it is from what I just solved. So for trouser is 25. So trouser is the first one, 25. For jacket is 26. You see it here as 26. For skirt is 3967. You see it here as 3967. So when you multiply them, okay, your profit per unit times your total quantity, that will give us your total profits. 1.875 million, 910,000, 1.983,500. So they are not big boys. Add all the big boys together, it now gave me this grand profit here. My figure is not big enough to withstand any other expenses. That's how we got this 4,768,500. Then I can now say deduct my overhead, which I call general overhead or general fixed cost. Now look at my general fixed cost in the question. Look at it here. For block A, we have 1,960,000. I copied it and I brought it here. Okay, 1,960,000. For block B, I'll copy again and let me go back. For block B, is 1.5 million. Copy it, okay? And bring it here, 1.5 million. For block C, come here, is 740. They are all per annum, meaning that you have multiplied everything to give you per annum. So 740. So I copy it and I put it here, 740. So this is my total profit that I have here, minus my overhead or general fees cost. I will still get a new profit of 568,500. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what this question entails. And so far, so good. We have been able to secure 15 good marks. Okay? Court C.
I have a question, sir.
Court C. Let me first put my court C. I don't know what you are saying. Court C. I'm the one that solved this question. So you will go and solve your own. Oh, yeah. Ask your question.
Okay, so well, when we are solving a question on limiting factor, so we should pay attention to the quantity per unit and not the total.
Quantity per unit, okay? I did not tell you that one. No.
Yeah, like the variable cost per unit.
Sales
We
per
should not.
unit, yes, variable cost per yes. When you are solving your contribution per limiting factor, everything you are using there is per unit. Per unit.
Okay.
Don't use total. Yes.
So once you find total, you should do a working and bring it back to the units. That's what you're saying.
They will give you in per unit already. Look at now. Your selling price was given to you per unit. Look at it here. Your variable cost were also given you to you per unit. But if they give you in total, just divide it by quantity to get per unit. It's easier.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what that work is. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Ladies and gentlemen, I remain Dr. President, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for staying.